Hello viewers, this is Almost Stars, and welcome to Let's Play Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, the Boss Endurance Run. Alright, so, I'm going to be doing the Boss Endurance, and it is going to be brutal. So, let's just get it over with. So, one thing I'm going to do with the Boss Endurance is, since in my playthrough of this game, I did not, really elaborate on how you're supposed to fight the bosses, or the mini-bosses, I'm deciding I'm going to take this moment to try and explain as well as I can. So, let's get to it. So, the way the boss endurance works is, you have one life to pretty much fight every boss in the game, and every mini-boss. Now, all the bosses, with the exception of final bosses, you will fight in a random order. This picture frame here tells you what the next boss in line is. Now, because this is the first fight, we're given a choice of ability. So, who do I want to choose? I think I want to go with the firepower for this first fight. So, let's see if I can remember where that is. No. Ah, here we go. So, yeah. The first, boss we're facing in the line will be Wiz from the Peppermint Palace. So, let's see if I can, remember, how to fight him. Well, I know how to fight him, but the best way to fight Wiz is to use an ability like Fire, where you can just basically get up against him and rape him. If you're not using abilities, one of the better ways to fight him is to, spit his projectiles back at him, but one thing to keep in mind is that he will try to, run around in fairly erotic ways. And by that, I basically mean he'll be all over the place. You really need to kind of watch out for where he goes. Like, see there? Really couldn't do much to avoid that. But he basically operates like Paint Roller to that extent. He'll create objects, he'll roll around, and just keep the pressure up and you'll win. Alright, so here we have the hub area in between each boss and mini-boss challenge. We'll get a moment reprieve where we can use one of 4 maximum tomatoes if we need it. These are the only maximum tomatoes you'll get for the entire challenge, so use them wisely. So, as you can see, our next boss is King Golem. I think I'll be fine with firepower. He basically operates like Wispy Woods, so just basically, eat his rocks, projectiles, and whatnot, and spit them back out at him, and you'll be fine to go there. He'll sometimes spit out a golem, as you saw, but again, just use it as ammo if you really need to. Or you can use an ability, it really doesn't matter. He's one of the easiest bosses, obviously. So the next fight will be against Mega Titan. I definitely want to go with an ability like Bomb, which I can use for projectiles, because I can push him back into the electricity, like so. So, the whole idea with the, you know what, screw it, let's just use normal Kirby. Yeah, the way Mega Titan works is, he'll fire around. Okay, I'm not doing too well here, because I'm not focusing. Basically, you want to knock him back into the electricity, like so. With normal Kirby, it's pretty easy. Easy with normal Kirby, because all you need to do is inhale a star, spit it out, and just do that. But, of course, he has 2 forms to him. Just kind of, but it's a simpler form. Just kind of, avoid his, little, I wouldn't consider it arcanoiding. But in any case, just avoid him and you'll be fine to go. So yeah, really the only thing that really makes this boss hard is just where he'll fly around, he'll try to shoot his fists at you, and that makes it really hard. So, for this next fight, you know, I'm gonna use a maximum tomato. I kinda need it. If you drop below 5 bars of health, I would recommend it. Depending on the boss, I guess, but... Now, for this boss, an ability really doesn't do you much good here. In fact, you can use the natural spitting technique underwater for this guy. But what I like to do, I like to call in some help, because that way I have 4 Kirbys spitting at him at once. And then I like to take the ability I have and use that as a free hit against him at the start. Okay, so just jump over him when he's like this. Kind of take this as a moment. Oh. Kind of take this as a moment of free hits. And there you go. I didn't even take any damage. Hurrah! Alright, so we got 4 Kirbys now, and that's pretty darn annoying, to be honest, because these guys like to get in the way a lot. So let's go ahead and start the first mini-boss challenge. The way it works is there's 8 mini-bosses in the game, and you're pitted up against 3 at a time. Of course, the thing is, since there's only 8, they give you a Waddle Dee as kind of one of the first ones. And here's kind of what I mean by it's kind of annoying to have 4 Kirbys fighting, because they tend to get in the way and will usually take up the hits instead, which is kind of nice, but they'll get in the way of projectiles and stuff you can eat. And to that extent, they're just annoying like that. Come on. There. Okay, keep going. So yeah, the only thing that really makes this boss particularly annoying is just where he'll stay above the ground most of the time, where you can't really hit him with your projectiles. Oh well. Hey, Bomb Kirby, why don't you use those bombs instead of just throwing them? Could you actually use them, please? Well, that's a step in the right direction, but yeah, so this is one thing that really does kind of make it a bit of a challenge when you have multiple Kirbys working at once, is that they'll tend to have I wouldn't say terrible AI, but, well, okay, it is kind of terrible. So here we have Boxer, and he's much harder than he is in the playthrough, because I believe it's because they know there's only 8 mini-bosses, and because they kind of cheap out with the Waddle Dee, they make this boss much harder. Now, the way you're supposed to go about it is you gotta inhale the stars, well, not the stars, you gotta take the Kai Blast and use those against this guy, because he's faster, he's a lot harder, and for that reason, only the Kai Blasts are really the safest thing to use as projectiles against him. Otherwise, he'll kill you like he did all 3 of my friends, which is actually not a bad thing. In fact, they were getting really annoying, I'll admit to that. So then, eat the Kai Blast, spit it back at him, and there you go. Just get the ability for the sake of it. Alright, so here we have the mole. I think I can actually use fire pretty effectively against this guy, so let's stick with that. Yeah, I think I'm good. So, here we have Moley. I think I'm doing okay. So, for this boss, just he'll throw a lot of stuff at you, so normal Kirby actually has a pretty good chance against this guy, for that reason. Fire Kirby's pretty okay too, because you have basically this, he'll pop out of his hole and you can just basically burn him to death, just like that. He'll throw projectiles, he'll pop out of the holes, avoid both of them and you'll be good. Oh, hey, I get a great thing right here. Tornado ability. Yeah, this is one of the best abilities to use for boss endurance. And let me demonstrate to you exactly why. Basically, Tornado makes you completely invincible. You can basically attack the boss, back off, and then basically resume your attack as you want. So this is just an awesome attack because you're completely invincible and can do anything you want. So yeah, this is Krakow. He's pretty much the same as any other game where he appears. Basically, Tornado is the best way to take care of him. Just avoid his lightning, his thunder, and everything, and you're good to go with him. Now we face Meta Knight. Which, again, Tornado is an amazing ability to use against him because you can just basically get on him all you want, and he can't really hurt you. Now, Meta Knight as a boss, when you have something other than Tornado, he can be a pretty bastard boss, because as you notice, he tends to block a lot of my actual advances and attacks. So that reason, he's pretty damn hard. I don't know how you're supposed to fight him as normal Kirby. I mean, he does have attacks that give off stars, but I really don't know the best way you're supposed to prompt him to actually use those attacks. So, well, there you go. It's not an easy thing to do. So, but I had Tornado power, so that made it a lot easier. So let's take on this mini-boss challenge against Batta, my old nemesis. So, Tornado power is pretty effective against him, like most other bosses and enemies. But yeah, as always, just use projectile attacks he uses with the fireballs, as I demonstrated in the playthrough. Basically, with most of the mini-bosses, I would usually advise using normal Kirby, except in cases like where you have Tornado. Now, Boxy is actually a very special mini-boss, especially for the boss endurance, because as you notice, he spits out these presents, which have bombs and enemies in them, but if you're a little lucky, they can also contain items, like batteries, health. So, late on, if you get this fight late in the challenge, this is actually a pretty good way of getting health and stuff, if you really need it. It's kind of one thing I really do kind of like about this. Yeah, see? I got a battery, so now I'm at full battery power again. Huzzah! This ought to make the final boss much easier now, because I'll have 3 calls on my friends. I hope I have 3 calls. Alright, so I really don't think I actually need any more health, so let's just rape Boxy, in a sense. Well, maybe not the right term. I don't know. What would you call it with a box? I don't know. So, we take care of Boxy and move on to Master Hand. Yeah, this guy. He likes to use that grab move a lot, which is a really bastard thing. But, other than that... Ah, crap. You see? It's really bad because he'll get right on you, and you really can't avoid his grab attack. I don't really know how you're supposed to avoid that easily, especially when he corners you against one side of the screen, but, it's something I can let go of. So now for the final mini-boss challenge against Mr. Flosty. So, pretty easy, he'll spit his ice cubes at you, but if you have something like Tornado power, you can just get on him and that'll be it. Alright, so now we have Bonkers. Again, pretty easy. Watch out for his coconuts and his hammer, and you'll be okay. So yeah, I'm making these mini-bosses look pretty easy, and that's basically how abusive Tornado is. Any ability like this that has a, oh god. Basically, any of these abilities that allow you to have invincibility, Wheel, Tornado, these are both great abilities to use in the boss endurance. Now, I can't say Wheel's just as good in this game, because a lot of the enemies tend to be a little more aerial, as you may have noticed. You know what? Sure, I'm getting pretty close to the end, so let's go ahead and take a maximum tomato. I'm pretty sure I got plenty. So now, let's face Master Hand and Crazy Hand. So, if you played Super Smash Bros. Brawl, this is probably a pretty reminiscent battle. And they're gonna do a lot of their stuff from the, they're gonna do a lot of their stuff from Super Smash Bros. Melee. But they're pretty easy with an ability like Tornado. Alright, and I've made it to the final boss fight, with 2 maximum tomatoes left. Alright.